Memories, my boy. Just a show we put on inside our heads. Sometimes the first draft of the script stinks.
We only get games like this once in a blue moon. So much charm, so much wit, so much funny. This is without a doubt one of the most creative games I've ever experienced.
Scream once for yes, I may enter your mind, and twice for no.
Psychonauts 2 is a run-and-jump platformer about mental health and the healing nature of empathy. Says so right off the bat. It's a love letter, not just to fans of the first Psychonauts, but to anyone who has ever pondered what it means to exist. You won't see Mario jumping through levels about gambling addictions or abusive relationships, but maybe Conker. Birthed from the mind of Tim Schafer, Psychonauts 2 is the sequel to the cult classic from 16 years ago. It's regarded for its creativity of the world and its memorable characters. The levels take place inside the minds of those characters, all reflecting their worldviews and personal psyche. Just try not to think about the rules too much.
What are the rules? What are the rules?
The enemies you fight are manifestations of mental health issues. Regrets will drop weights on you, doubts will slow you down, panic attacks are alarmingly quick, and enablers will empower all these enemies, so you better get rid of those first. The gameplay centers around platforming and collecting, but that feels secondary to the story and its characters. When I think of games telling complex stories, the platformer genre is typically the last that comes to mind. Save the princess, power the ship, rescue your sister, stop that bastard K. Rool from shooting a laser at the island shaped like your head. You don't need a complex narrative to thrust you into a game about jumping around and collecting things. Psychonauts is an exception. If you're not paying attention to the intricate story or interacting with everyone, you're missing out on what makes this one stand out from the rest.
When does it start fulfilling all of our unachieved ambitions?
Right after we use its identity to hide our excess taxable income.
Oh, it will be so nice to have a couple of spare kidneys around the house.
Oh my. Every actor breathes life into each character, no matter how big or small. Although it is strangely paced with noticeable gaps of silence between characters talking to each other. Kinda like what you see in Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy games. A small nitpick, but noticeable.
Now I have nothing to fear.
You're stupid!
I'm glad to see the game is still platforming focused. It's not like a hybrid of shooting and jumping like you'd see in Ratchet and Clank. It's also not Mario levels of depth, but it feels good. Raz feels tight to control, and the level designs give the gameplay a nice flow. It has some challenges sprinkled in, but it's overall an easy experience. Allows you to take in the little details and enjoy the ride. The combat is serviceable, but clearly the weakest part of the game. For most of my playthrough, I would just spam the same powers without much strategy and get along just fine. There wasn't much incentive to get creative. It's nice to see improvements to the functionality of telekinesis and pyrokinesis, but it all feels a bit mindless. How's that for irony? Similar to Brutal Legend, when the combat finally realizes itself, the game's already over. I was just starting to enjoy it. Every level has unique objectives. You'll create mental connections for healthier thinking, recover the identities that shape someone to improve their self-confidence. Exploring minds, unlocking memories, helps those characters heal and get better. The real standout level is helping Jack Black's brain recover all 5 of his senses. Its beautiful, cartoony acid trip world, complemented with some Beatles, Grateful Dead style music, is a level I want everyone to play. The whole game is a celebration of what it means to be alive. It doesn't pull any punches either. It explores the darker aspects of the human experience and how fragile minds are.
War changes everybody. Inside all of us, we all have dark roots.
How the people and events in our lives shape our perspectives, for better or worse. The main villain is not seen as some hollow evil entity meant to be vanquished, but rather something that resides in all of us. Psychonauts wrestles with more adult themes and subject matter than your typical action platformer. It strikes a nice balance of comedy and tragedy, being able to touch on heavy themes with a lighthearted but sensible approach. A game like this really shows off the potential video games have for unique storytelling and world building, while also being simple, run and jump, fun. If you want to give your brain an entertaining, thought-provoking, yet relaxing time, try out Psychonauts 2.
Hi, I'm sorry. I just hate children.